Welcome, everyone. Today, we're sharpening our focus on a really critical component for many of you, the IELTS academic writing test. It's often seen as, well, a bit of a hurdle, maybe, but with the right insights, the right strategies, it really becomes a much clearer path to showing your English skills.
Exactly.
Our mission today is really to uncover those precise tactics, the things that can, help elevate your score.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The writing test isn't just about perfect grammar, though that's important. It's really about strategic communication, understanding what the examiners are actually looking for.
Right.
There are specific methods, specific approaches that once you get the hang of them, they allow you to perform at your best, even under, test conditions. It's like learning the rules of a game properly.
Okay, so let's start by laying down some maybe bedrock principles. The kind of advice that sometimes gets overlooked but is, well, fundamental for both Task 1 and Task 2.
Good idea.
First off, let's just talk about presentation. Simple
Okay.
stuff. You'll get specific writing papers for each task.
Two separate sheets.
And keeping it neat, legible, it's not just being polite, is it? It directly impacts how easily the examiner can read and assess your work.
Definitely. Unclear handwriting, a messy layout. It can subtly work against you, even if the content is good. Clarity is key.
And beyond just the letters, think about paragraphing, leaving a clear blank line between paragraphs. It's a simple visual cue, but it really improves readability, shows a shift in ideas.
Yeah, and it makes it much easier to follow your logic.
And it might seem obvious, but avoid writing in the margins. Those are for the examiner's notes, right? If you write there, parts of your answer might get missed.
Absolutely. Stick within the lines.
Finally, for those moments when you make a mistake, and look, everyone does just a single clean line through the wrong word. That's all.
Exactly. No need for big scribbles or trying to erase heavily. Keep it clean, even the corrections.
It all adds up to looking like a careful writer.
It does. It touches on things like coherence and cohesion and even your lexical resource impression. Shows competence. Building on that, maybe the most important rule for any test section is paying meticulous attention to the instructions. Really read them carefully.
Crucial.
Examiners are looking for your ability to follow directions precisely. If the task asks explicitly for, say, 3 things, discuss A, B, and C, you must address all 3.
Right. Miss one, and you're already losing marks for task achievement.
Exactly. It shows you haven't fully understood what was asked, regardless of how well you wrote about A and B.
Okay. And this leads to another key point, doesn't it? About using your own words.
Yes, a really crucial linguistic strategy. Rephrasing. You absolutely must not copy whole phrases or sentences verbatim from the task instructions.
Why is that so important?
Well, simply repeating the prompt shows, frankly, no mastery of vocabulary or grammar. It doesn't demonstrate your language ability. You're expected to rephrase.
So say the same thing, but differently.
Precisely. Articulate the same idea using your own words, synonyms, different sentence structures. For example, if the prompt mentions the impact of technology.
You might say something like, the effects of modern advancements in your introduction.
Perfect example. That immediately signals a higher level of lexical sophistication, vocabulary range.
Got it. And then there's the word count. Always a worry.
Yes, it's non-negotiable. Task 1 needs a minimum of 150 words. Task 2 needs at least 250 words.
And if you write less?
There's a direct penalty. Your score for task achievement will be lower. You simply haven't fulfilled the task requirements.
So how can you check that quickly during the test without, counting every single word?
Yeah, you don't want to waste time counting. A practical way is to get a feel for your average words per line before the test. In your practice, count a few lines.
Okay.
If you usually write, say, 10 words per line on the official paper, well, Task 1 needs about 15 lines, and Task 2 needs around 25 lines.
Ah, I see. So it's a quick mental check.
Exactly. It helps you track your progress, roughly estimate if you're on track, without stopping the flow of writing. It's about building that internal sense of length.
Those general points are really the scaffolding, aren't they? Super important.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot now to the first specific challenge, writing Task 1, the report.
Right, Task 1.
This is where you get a visual. It could be a line graph, bar chart, pie chart, maybe a table, a process diagram, or even a map.
Or sometimes a combination, yeah. 2 visuals together.
And your job is to write a formal, objective description of that information. For like a university lecturer, it's not about your opinion at all.
Purely objective, observation and analysis of the data presented.
We've all seen these kinds of visuals, line graphs showing trends over time, bar charts comparing different things, pie charts showing parts of a whole.
Tables with lots of numbers, diagrams showing how something works or is made, maps showing changes in a place.
The key isn't just knowing what type it is, but how you actually approach describing the information in it.
Absolutely. And regardless of the specific visual type, there are some universal rules for writing a good Task 1 report.
Okay, lay them on us.
First, the time. Just 20 minutes. That's it, for at least 150 words. So you need to be efficient. Plan quickly, write concisely.
20 minutes isn't long.
It flies by.
Yeah.
Second, and I really can't stress this enough, never include your personal opinion.
No, I think the sales went up because...
Absolutely not. The report is about what the data shows, not what you think about it. Phrases like, I think, in my opinion, it seems to me, they're critical errors in Task 1.
Got it. Objective description only.
Third, as we mentioned before, paraphrase. Use your own words for everything from the question prompt and any labels on the visual itself.
So if the graph axis says number of cars sold, you need to find other ways to say that.
Yes. Vehicle sales figures, the quantity of cars purchased, car sales levels, showing you can use synonyms and varied structures for common terms like increased, decreased, remain stable is vital for your vocabulary score.
Okay. And fourth?
Structure. Your report needs a clear structure. You can't just write bullet points or disconnected sentences. It has to be a coherent piece of writing in paragraphs.
So like the essay, it needs
An introduction, a body section, usually 2 or 3 paragraphs, and a conclusion. Or sometimes the conclusion is called an overview, depending on how you structure it. But it needs distinct parts.
That structure sounds vital. So let's drill down a bit. What specific information needs to go into each of those sections to really get a good score?
Right. Let's break down the job of each paragraph. Your introduction. Its first job is to rephrase the task description. Say clearly what the visual shows.
So the topic, who or what it's about, the time period, the place, if they're given.
Exactly, all the key parameters. Then, crucially, you must include an overview or main trend sentence right after that in the introduction, or sometimes as a separate, short concluding paragraph.
An overview, what's that exactly?
That's where you summarize the most striking overall pattern or comparison you see in the visual without quoting specific data yet.
Like the big picture.
Precisely. For example, overall, the sales of X increased significantly over the period, while the sales of Y saw a gradual decline, or it is clear that category A was consistently the most popular choice throughout the time frame.
So you're telling the reader the main message straight away.
Yes, and this overview is absolutely critical for your task achievement score. You fail Task 1 if you don't include a clear overview. You're painting the broad strokes before filling in details.
Okay, intro done. What about the body paragraphs? They're usually 2 or 3.
Yes, typically 2 or 3. This is where you support your overview with specific details and data from the visual. But here's the common trap.
Don't just list everything.
Exactly. Don't describe every single number or data point. That's not analysis, it's just listing. Instead, you need to select the most significant features.
Like the highest points, the lowest points.
Yes, highs, lows, the most dramatic changes, any obvious points of intersection, or clear groupings of data. Your job is to identify key trends, make comparisons, note contrasts.
So instead of in 2005 it was 10, in 2006 it was 11, in 2007 it was 10.5.
Right, much better to group it. Sales remained relatively stable between 2005 and 2007, hovering around the 10 million mark, before experiencing a sharp rise in 2008. See the difference?
Yeah, much more analytical, and you need to make sure you cover the main parts of the visual.
Yes, ensure you touch upon all the key time periods shown, or all the categories being compared. Don't leave anything major out, and use linking words effectively.
Like however, similarly.
Exactly. In contrast, similarly, furthermore, subsequently, while, whereas. These words help guide the reader through your comparisons and analysis, boosting your coherence and cohesion score.
Makes sense. And the conclusion, or if the overview is separate, what goes there?
If you put your overview in the introduction, the conclusion is often very brief. It just summarizes the main trends you've already described in the body. Think of it as reinforcing the big picture you presented in the overview.
And again, crucially.
No new information, and absolutely no personal opinions. It just wraps up your objective description neatly.
Okay, that structure is very clear.
Yeah.
Now, something you mentioned earlier, grammar, and how the visual itself gives you clues. Let's talk about the timestamp and verb tenses. This seems really important for accuracy.
It's incredibly important. The time reference shown on the graph, table, or map is your absolute guide for choosing the correct verb tense. It's not optional. It dictates the grammar you must use.
So you look at the dates or time periods shown.
Precisely. Let's break it down. If the data refers to a specific point or period that is completely finished in the past, like book sales in 2001 or visitors to the museum last year.
Past simple.
Exactly. You must use the past simple tense, sales increased, the number of visitors dropped, the company launched a new product. Using present tense here, like sales increase, is just wrong.
Okay, simple enough. What if the data covers a period of time in the past, suggesting something ongoing then? Like spending patterns between 1999 and 2003.
Good question. For that kind of continuous action or trend within a finished past period, the past continuous tense is often appropriate, or sometimes the past simple still works depending on context. You could say, consumers were spending more on electronics during this period, or the company was steadily growing its market share. It emphasizes the ongoing nature of the action then.
Right. It paints a picture of duration.
Yes. Now, what if the information is about the present, or it's generally true without a specific past time marker, like a chart showing current unemployment figures or how people typically spend their leisure time?
Present tense, presumably.
Yes, the present simple usually. The figures show a rise. People generally prefer watching TV. Or if it's describing a trend happening right now, maybe the present continuous. The graph indicates that this trend is currently happening.
Okay. And the last one, future. Sometimes graphs show projections.
Exactly. If the visual shows forecasts, predictions, or plan changes like projected population growth by 2050 or proposed changes to the city center,
Then you need the future tense.
absolutely. Use the future tense. A new library will be constructed. The population is expected to reach 10 million. Notice the passive voice is common here for plans and constructions will be built, is planned to be introduced.
That's a really clear breakdown. Paying attention to that timestamp is key for grammatical accuracy.
It's fundamental. Let's take a quick example, maybe using a table. Imagine a table showing how women in different age groups spent their leisure time, maybe activities like TV, reading, gardening, entertaining friends.
Okay, typical kind of table data.
Great. How would you start the introduction? You'd rephrase, the table illustrates the preferred leisure activities among various female age cohorts. Simple present tense as it's presenting general data.
And the overview.
You'd look for the most striking overall patterns. Maybe overall it can be seen that watching television was the dominant pastime for older women, whereas younger groups tended to favor entertaining guests. Using past simple if the survey was done in the past, or present simple if it's presented as general habits.
And finding key info in the body.
First, scan for the highest and lowest figures. Maximums and minimums always make good comparison points. If, say, watching TV for the 51-plus group is 45%, and gardening for the 20-25 group is only 2%, that's a significant contrast to mention.
Makes sense. Look for the extremes.
Then look for similarities or groupings. If reading has similar percentages for, say, the 31-40 and 41-50 age groups, you can group them.
Like reading popularity remained consistent for women in their 30s and 40s.
Exactly. Reading exhibited similar levels of engagement among women aged 31 to 50, accounting for approximately 18% in both demographics. That kind of grouping and comparison is much better than just listing the numbers for each group separately. It shows you're analyzing, not just copying.
That's a great illustration. Moving from just listing data to actually interpreting it by grouping and comparing. Okay, super helpful for task 1. Let's move on to the second part then. Task 2, the essay.
The essay, yes.
This one's longer, minimum 250 words, and you get more time, 40 minutes, but it often feels more daunting, right? Because it's not just describing, it's arguing, discussing.
It is more complex, definitely. It requires developing ideas, structuring an argument, using more sophisticated language. But again, like the report, a solid structure is absolutely fundamental. It's not optional if you want a good score.
So same basic structure again. Intro, body, conclusion.
Pretty much, yes. A clear introduction. A body, usually 2 or 3 paragraphs, each focused on a distinct idea or aspect of the argument, and a conclusion. This framework is essential for coherence and cohesion. It makes your argument logical and easy for the examiner to follow.
Right. A well-structured essay, even if the grammar isn't perfect, probably scores better than one with great ideas, but is all jumbled up.
Absolutely. Structure provides the skeleton for your ideas.
Okay, we know the basic structure, but the questions themselves can be quite different, can't they? What are the main types of essay questions we might face in Task 2? Knowing the type must help figure out how to answer.
It's the very first thing you need to figure out. Understanding the question type dictates your whole approach. We can generally break them down into 3 main types.
Okay, type 1.
First, we have Type A, the argument essay. This is probably the most common. The question presents a statement or an issue and then asks you to discuss it, often asking if you agree or disagree, or to discuss both views and give your opinion.
Like, some people think X while others think Y. Discuss both views and give your own opinion.
Exactly. Or, computers are essential today, but they also cause problems. Discuss the problems. Here, you need to present arguments, often weighing pros and cons, and clearly state your own position, usually in the introduction and conclusion.
Okay, argument essay. What's next?
Second, type H, the hidden argument essay. These can be a bit trickier. They often use phrases like, "To what extent do you agree?" or "How far has X changed?"
To what extent? I've seen those.
The key here is to find the simple yes or no question hidden inside the "to what extent." For example, if the question is, "To what extent should television be used to educate children?"
The hidden question is just, should television be used to educate children, yes or no?
Precisely. Once you identify that core yes-no question, you basically treat it like a type A argument essay. You discuss the reasons for using it, yes side, the reasons against using it, no side, and then state your position on the extent, maybe strongly agree, partially agree, etc.
So you uncover the argument first. Clever. Okay, and the third type?
Third is type S, the situation essay, sometimes called problem solution. These questions describe a situation or a problem and usually ask you to explain its causes and suggest solutions.
Example.
Traffic congestion in major cities is becoming increasingly severe. What are the main causes of this problem and what measures could be taken to alleviate it?
Right, so no arguing for or against congestion.
No, exactly. Your job here is analytical and prescriptive. You need to dedicate body paragraphs to explaining why this is happening. The causes may be more cars, poor public transport, bad city planning, and then dedicate other body paragraphs to proposing solutions. Improve buses, congestion charges, build bypasses.
So causes and solutions. Got it. Type A argument. Type H hidden argument. Type S situation solution. That distinction is really helpful.
Knowing the type is your first step to planning.
Okay, planning. With only 40 minutes for 250 plus words, plus thinking time, planning has to be quick but effective. Can you give us maybe some baby steps for essay planning? A simple process.
Absolutely. A few minutes spent planning saves a lot of time and panic later. Let's call them the baby steps to planning your essay.
Okay. Baby step 1.
First, read and classify. Seriously, take maybe 3 to 5 minutes just for this. Read the question carefully, maybe 2 or 3 times. Underline keywords. Then, make a decision. Is it A, H, or S?
Don't rush this part.
Definitely not. Knowing the type dictates your structure. Let's take an example. Homeschooling is old-fashioned and unsuitable for modern society. Do you agree or disagree?
Okay, that sounds like agree, disagree, maybe hidden argument.
It is. It's type H. The hidden question is homeschooling suitable today? Which then becomes a type A structure. Arguments for its suitability, arguments against, and your opinion. Classifying it tells you how to organize your thoughts.
Got it. Read and classify. Baby step 2.
Second, brainstorm ideas. Take another, say, 5 to 7 minutes. Now that you know the type, jot down all your ideas relevant to the question. Just bullet points or keywords.
For the homeschooling one, ideas for why it is suitable and ideas for why it isn't.
Exactly. For type A or H, list points for and against. For type S, list causes and solutions. Don't filter too much at this stage. Just get ideas onto the paper.
Okay, brainstorm done. Then what?
Then quickly group those ideas. Decide which main idea will go into which body paragraph. Maybe you have 2 ideas supporting one side and 1 supporting the other. That could be 2 body paragraphs. For an argument essay, a good strategy is often to discuss the side you disagree with first, maybe briefly.
Get it out of the way.
Sort of, yes. And then dedicate more space and stronger arguments to the side you agree with. It builds towards your conclusion more effectively.
Makes sense. So, read and classify, brainstorm, and group. Baby step 3.
Third, write. Now, with your plan ready, you can start writing with more confidence. Aim to spend about 25-30 minutes writing. Your introduction's first sentence should clearly rephrase the question and state your main argument or the essay's scope.
Set the direction.
Yes. And as you write your body paragraphs, try to start each one with a clear topic sentence stating its main point. And definitely use linking words.
We mentioned those for task 1. They're important here, too.
Even more so, perhaps. They signpost your argument for the examiner. Using words like however, moreover, furthermore, therefore, on the other hand, in addition, consequently, nevertheless, smoothly connects your ideas and boosts your coherence and cohesion score significantly.
So consciously try to use a variety of them.
Yes. For instance, instead of just saying, learning is good, some parts are hard, You could write, while the benefits of learning are undeniable, nevertheless, certain aspects can present significant challenges. It just sounds more academic and structured.
Okay, those baby steps sound really practical. Classify, brainstorm, write. But still, 40 minutes for a whole essay. That feels very fast. Any tips for managing that pressure?
It is fast, no doubt about it. It's probably the biggest challenge for many people.
Yeah.
But honestly, the key is practice, timed practice.
Just doing it again and again with a clock.
Exactly. Regularly set a timer for 40 minutes and write a full Task 2 essay. The first few times you might not finish or you might rush the ending. That's okay.
Learn from it.
Yes, you'll start to internalize the timing, you'll get quicker at planning, faster at generating ideas, more fluent in writing the actual sentences. The baby steps become almost automatic. There's no magic trick other than consistent, timed practice.
Build stamina, I guess. Okay, one more thing on the essay useful phrases. Are there any sort of stock phrases or sentence starters that can help structure sentences or introduce ideas effectively?
Yeah.
Kind of like grammatical scaffolding.
Yes, definitely. Having a few useful phrases in your toolkit can really help, especially under pressure. They can make your essay clearer, more organized, and sound more sophisticated. They contribute to both lexical resource and coherence and cohesion.
Great. Can you give us some examples? Maybe for different functions.
Sure. For showing two different sides of an argument or contrasting ideas. Some people believe that. However, others argue that. On the one hand, on the other hand, while it is true that, it is also the case that.
Okay, useful for presenting different views. What about adding more information?
To add more points supporting the same idea. In addition, moreover, another key point is that.
Good. And for giving examples.
Examples are crucial for supporting your points. For instance, a notable illustration of this is where, such as.
Excellent. And finally, for the conclusion.
To signal you're summarizing and finishing. In conclusion, to sum up, overall, in summary, while there are arguments on both sides, it seems clear that using these kinds of phrases naturally, not forcing them in everywhere, but using them appropriately really elevates the quality of the writing.
That's a great list of tools to have ready. So, wow, we have covered a huge amount about the IELTS academic writing test today, from the basics of presentation right through to planning strategies and useful language for both Task 1 and Task 2.
We have covered a lot, yeah.
It might seem like a daunting set of rules and steps, but I hope listeners can see that knowing these rules, understanding the structure, and practicing them, it really can make a massive difference.
That's absolutely right. It demystifies the test. The key truly is practice, consistent practice, even if it's just for a short time each day. Try using the structures we talked about. Try using those linking words and phrases. You will genuinely see your confidence grow.
And maybe think about it this way. When you write, whether it's for this test or anything else, you're essentially telling a story or explaining your ideas to someone else. So always ask yourself, how can I make my words as clear, as logical, and maybe even as interesting as possible for that reader?
That's a great perspective. Thinking about the reader, the examiner in this case, helps focus your writing.
We really hope this discussion has been valuable for you listening today. If you did find it helpful, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more insights like this.
And don't forget to check out the links in the description below. We often put extra resources or information there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you all the very best with your IELTS preparation and hope you have a great day.